Hello. A student of mine had a question about this particular problem and asked that I go over it. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with both the student as well as anyone else who's interested. Here's the question. Joe has an extrovert score of 80. For this extrovert test, the mean was 48 and the standard deviation was 26. How many standard deviations is Joe above the mean? Round to the nearest hundredth. Sometimes a picture can help. So here's the range of scores, and the mean, the typical score, was 48. The standard deviation is 26. So here's the mean of 48. If you're one standard deviation above the mean, you add 26 at 48, that gets you 74. If you're two standard deviations above, well, we take that 74, we add another 26, and that gets us to 100. So 48 is the mean, 74 is plus 1 standard deviation, and 100 is plus 2 standard deviations, where our standard deviation is 26. Joe has a score of 80. So here's Joe, this X here, and his score was an 80. So we know he's going to be a little bit more than one standard deviation above the mean, but he's not going to be quite two standard deviations above the mean. And you can see already that there's some benefit to drawing this out, to kind of visually understanding where Joe's at. There's something else that we'll use that'll give us a little bit more precision, and that's called the Z-score. A Z-score, here's our formula for the Z-score. Z is equal to, it'll be the value, in this case it's Joe, the fact that he has an 80, minus the mean, in this case the mean is 48, and it's going to be divided by the standard deviation, which I'll abbreviate as STDEV. Alright, so let's plug in the numbers. Our value is 80. Our mean is 48. And our standard deviation was 26. And we're getting all this from up here. Value is 80, standard deviation is 26, and the mean was 48. Okay, so we go ahead then and we bring out our handy dandy calculator to do this calculation, clear our previous contents, and we say, alright, 80 minus 48, so value minus the mean, equals, divided by 26, which is a standard deviation, and the answer is 1.23. So we know that our buddy here, Joe, is 1.23 standard deviations above the mean. So I'll put here 1.23, excuse me just a moment. And then we're done. So Joe is 1.23 standard deviations, almost 1 1/4 standard deviations above the mean. Again, how do we solve this? First, we just drew a picture and we put a line to indicate the mean. And since Joe was above the mean, I just went in the direction above. So I put in what value would be 1 standard deviation above the mean, what value would be 2 standard deviations above the mean. That was just 48 plus 26 to get me 74, and 74 plus our standard deviation of 26 to get me 100. Then I actually put the value and indicated what it was. It was 80. And so visually, I know that if I get something that isn't close to 1, just a little bit above 1, I know my answer would be wrong. Like if I did all this and it came out to be like -3, I would know, okay, I did a calculation error. So I would know here it's going to be a little bit above 1. So then we actually pulled out the Z-score formula, and the Z-score formula tells you how many standard deviations a value is above or below the mean. If the Z-score is positive, then you're above the mean. If the Z-score is negative, you're below the mean. A positive Z-score here says we're above the mean. That corresponds with our picture. We said the value of 80 minus the mean of 48 over the standard deviation of 26, that gave us 1.23, telling us that we're 1.23 standard deviations above the mean, almost 1 1/4. And so we put in as our answer 1.23. And we're done. Hope that helps.